Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, let's get into some fundamental analysis on quite a few stocks that are going to be in focus today. Amnish Aggarwal, the Director Institutional Research at PL Capital, joins us on the show. Hi, Amnish. Thanks a lot for joining in. Tell us what you think of IndusInd Bank's numbers. There's an equally bearish and bullish argument. One side of the story is that there's plenty of bad news ahead, where the other part says, well, we've already digested the bad news and now on a price to book valuation, but it's quite attractive. Which camp are you in?
IndusInd, I would say, is a difficult one because there are quite a bit of variation which comes in numbers. Sometimes in terms of this time around, I think the fee number has gone down drastically. Sometimes your GNPA goes up. Okay, so the numbers, these are like, you can say, topsy-turvy from the last.
So Amnish, you would say it's a buy, sell, or just an avoid for now?
See, it's better to be on the sidelines for the moment because till the time new management comes in and there is absolute clarity, so there could be wide fluctuations which can continue in this stock, and so for the investors it could be a very rocky ride in the near term.
Okay, all right. The other one I wanted to ask you about is Mazagon Dock. Those numbers looked weak. We had Zen Technologies over the weekend as well. Those numbers as well looked weak. Defense, there's a long runway, but the numbers are not really showing off in quarter one. Would you be a buyer on a dip?
You see, defense stocks, but we should not look at on a quarter-on-quarter basis because what happens is that, first of all, the execution in many of these companies, that is usually back-ended and it happens in the second half of the year. That is one. And secondly, it also depends on how the orders are progressing, how the execution has been in the previous quarter and in the current quarter. So these stocks need to be looked at with I would say, at least 2 to 3 year kind of a viewpoint. And on a quarter-on-quarter basis, I think I would avoid looking at these names. And I think on dips, some of these stocks, I think they continue to make sense to be looked at. But in the near term, one should not expect any fireworks from these stocks.
Would you say the same for Kotak Mahindra Bank? Amnish, I'm Morning Surbi here. I mean, would you give them the benefit of doubt? It was just one bad quarter. How did you view it?
You see, Kotak and IndusInd are on a very different plane because in IndusInd, for example, the management change will be there. There have been a lot more problems, whereas the Kotak is actually having the growth issues not now from quite some time because the Kotak actually lacks consistency in terms of, say, numbers. A couple of quarters you will see they're good numbers, and then for 1 or 2 quarters the numbers won't be, I would say, that great. But definitely, if you run through all the banks, excluding, say, an HDFC and ICICI, there seems to be some stress which is building up on the MSME side, on the unsecured side, and that is sooner or later reflected in the numbers of all the banks. So I think maybe another quarter or so, the numbers will start improving. But as of now, I would say the Kotak one should not club with IndusInd Bank, but definitely ICICI and HDFC are the pick of the lot.
No, actually, I was asking more from the point of view, you said that don't look at defense stocks on a quarter-to-quarter basis, have a longer-term view. So that's why I was asking whether you will apply the same to a Kotak Mahindra Bank.
You see, the banks and defense we should not compare because defense companies, for example, they might be sitting on an order book of 3 to 4 years, whereas in case of financial, it's a very different ball game. Yeah. So I will not apply that yardstick, but yes, it's a good bank. The capital adequacy ratios are there. I would say it's a strong bank, but slightly inconsistent in terms of, say, the performance. So on dips, yes, Kotak Mahindra can be looked at from the longer term.
Okay, all right, but go with caution. That's the advice that Amnish is giving out this morning. We'll take Amnish, leave us with the stock. I mean, anything which you really liked. We don't have too many great earnings this season so far, but your top pick, something that you're convinced about looking at the numbers?
You see, very difficult to give you, say, a single stock. As I said, for example, something like an ICICI Bank looks safe at this juncture, or if I take, say, a 6 months view, ITC might be a stock which can give you, say, 15-20% returns also. But I think in the middle of the result season with not many numbers giving you a lot of comfort, I think it is very hard to pinpoint at this point of time. And maybe next few days will give you a better picture.
Sure. Okay. All right, Amnish. Thanks very much for that.